שיר למחלות, אסען אל הגרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם אדוני, עושה שמיים וארץ. אל ייתן למות רגלך, אל ינום שומרך. הנה לא ינום ולא ישן, שומר ישראל. אדוני שומרך, אדוני צילך, עליית ימינך. יומם השמש לא יככה, וירח בלילה. אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך, מעתה ועד העולם. 121st Psalm. I will lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? The source of my help is the Lord, creator of heaven and earth. He will not let you falter. Your guardian does not slumber. Surely the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. He is at your right hand to protect you. The Lord, your keeper, gives shelter. The sun will not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all harm. The Lord will preserve your soul. He will guard you going and coming from this time forth and forever. מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לא אחסר, בנדש ירביצני, על מי מנוחות ינחלני, נפשי ישבב ינחני, ומעגלי צדק למען שמו, גם כי בגיא צל מוות לא ירא, כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צוררי, דשנת בשמן ראשי כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד תרדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He has me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He guides me on path of righteousness. He revives my soul for the sake of his glory. Though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod comfort me. You set a table inside of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Dear Vadim, Alla, Rachel, Joseph, Konstantin, Luba, Eugene, Benjamin, Vladimir, Valentina, William, dear relatives and friends, we come together to remember the life and to honor the memory of Larisa Glukh and to offer our friendship and support to her family and loved ones at this time of bereavement. When death takes a precious life, it brings a pain, loneliness, and sorrow. Yet there's so much of which death cannot rob us. The years, the dreams, the memories, the experiences we shared. Death cannot take from us the sustaining hope that darkness yields to light and hurt gives way to healing. May our words of comfort and our acts of kindness reach out to you, and may we all be enriched through the memory of Larisa's good deeds. Before I begin my eulogy, I have to tell you honestly that I read my eulogy maybe a dozen of times, because knowing that Larisa was an expert in language and in literature, I wanted to make sure that every sentence that I wrote was perfect, that every comma and every period was in the right place. I wanted my eulogy to be worthy of her knowledge of language and the literature. Larisa Glukh was born November 16, 1940 in Oryol, Belarus. In 1941, at the start of the Great Patriotic War, she was evacuated with her family to Siberia. Her mother, Liba, preserved her life during those horrible war years. And her father, Aaron, served in the army fighting the Nazis. When Belarus was liberated, the family returned back to Oryol, where the father, Aaron, continued his service in the army. In 1950, during Stalin's anti-Semitic campaign, he was discharged from the army and the family moved to Leningrad. At 16 years old, Larisa graduated from high school and started working. Later, she attended evening classes at the Leningrad Pedagogical Institute, studying Russian language and Russian literature. Pushkin, Turgenev, Dostoevsky, and Tolstoy were her teachers in life. She also was an amateur poet. Larisa and Yuri Glukh went to the same school in Leningrad, but he was 2 years older and didn't pay much attention to her. But later they met again at the school reunion, and Larisa invited Yuri to tango. And as we know, it takes two to dance tango. So that dance decided their fate. In 1962, they got married, and they lived together in love and happiness for 54 years. Their marriage was exceptional. It was a marriage for ages. They adored each other. They had similar interests and similar life goals. They became loving and caring parents to two sons, Konstantin and Vadim. For Yuri, his work and his family was everything. And for Larisa, Yuri and her two sons were everything. She gave Yuri freedom to be himself and to do what he was born to do and what brought him happiness and fulfillment in life. Larisa was always in Yuri's shadow, giving him a chance to be a star in the family. And Yuri understood this, and he was forever grateful to her. Yuri looked at Larisa with eyes full of love and fire until the last day of his life. Larisa was his brightest star. Larisa had a warm and compassionate heart. She was open to people, and she was very social. Larisa had many friends that loved and respected her. Vladimir, your relationship with your sister was very warm and soulful. You never had conflicts and disagreements. When you came to the States from Israel, she was very happy your families reunited here in Cleveland. Konstantin and Vadim, she was an amazing mother to both of you. She was a wonderful Jewish mother. She was a Yiddish mama. And that says everything. She was ready to do anything for you. She was ready to sacrifice everything for you. And she did sacrifice everything for you. Konstantin, you said that Mama helped you to overcome your hearing problems growing up. And Vadim, when you were born, she became a stay-at-home mom until you went to school. She taught you how to read, and she gave you the love of literature. Both of you could tell her anything and ask for advice. She instilled in you her humanitarian values and love of education. She made sure that you had a very close relationship with your father despite his busy work life. She told you about his difficult childhood, his family, his work, his amazing talent. She wanted you to have a relationship with your grandmother on your father's side, despite a complicated family history. Larisa loved and adored her 4 grandchildren, Rachel and Joseph, Eugene and Benjamin. She was especially close to Rachel and Joseph. And 4 of you loved her back and helped to care for her in her last days. She loved you, Alla and Luba, like her own daughters, and she accepted your families like her own. Larisa had cancer since 2010. She never complained, and she continued to fight for her life. Until the last day, she was very brave and calm. She didn't think of herself. She continued to think about you, her family, and she continued to care about you. All her care workers that cared for her those last years, months, and days were attracted to her goodness, and they treated her like she was their family member. She always saw only good in people, and she always said only good about people. You told me that Larisa was like a family archivarius. She kept everything. She kept school records, birthday cards, pictures, awards, etc., everything. And I think she did it because everything was very precious to her. All those artifacts were her family treasure chest, her most precious possessions, because everything connected her to all of you, her beloved family. Larisa Glukh lived with the good name, and she died with the good name. Tehi nishmata tzarora b'tzrora chaim. May her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. I know that some family members would like to share their memories. Vadim, please.
Thank you, Misha, for the good words. Thank you, everybody, for coming. My mom, just like it was said before me, she enjoyed the company of the family and friends. And I never heard bad things about anybody, anything behind their backs. She was open. She was very private at the same time. Obviously, for a lot of people, it became a surprise to find out she had cancer for such a long time. And she fought it in private, sometimes in private from us as well. And she was a selfless, fearless warrior that took care of her kids, grandkids, her husband, her mother, and her father. When her mom, Aliva, passed away in 2008, she became fully involved in making sure that our grandfather would not feel alone. It's only because of her he lived to 100.5. Not only she helped him with his everyday things around his place and maintained his independence and independent living, her hand was in all of his literary work. She edited everything that he ended up publishing, and he published 5 books of poems. She also wrote poems herself. She was infatuated with poetry from the very early age, and that was part of the reason why she chose the education she chose, because she wanted to study, she wanted to be a pro in a language that she wanted to use with such a mastery that she was able to write. But at the same time, she didn't have this drive to necessarily publish a book or write a finished novel or whatever the effort that my grandfather took, but she made sure that his efforts were fruitful. As I was going through some of the papers that were left over one by one, like Misha just said, she kept the birthday cards we wrote to her from 1973, from 1979. I'm looking at these things. I barely remember that I was able to scribble at that time. And all of this is preserved for all of us to share. And she also took a great pride in being able to help other people. She was extremely happy when she got the job with the JFSA. You know, we all get jobs, most of us, and we're mostly happy with the jobs we do. Otherwise, we're in the wrong place. But she was so happy that today I found a card from somebody. I can't even remember. There is no signature, and I can't recognize anybody's handwriting. A client of hers writes to her that not only she helped somebody to study and obtain the American citizenship, she gave him a course in, like a counseling course, a psychology counseling course, helped them to avoid the depression and the inferiority complex that some people may develop coming into a country where they don't speak the language. She helped a lot of people. The last I heard from her, she had probably a couple, if not a few hundred people that she helped over the years. We never talked about the details, like I never talk about my details of my job, but the overall sense was she was completely involved with just making sure that these people were happy, that they got what they were supposed to get in order to get independent and become full members of the society. She was very happy to see the children, and especially the little ones that are present here now, Anton and Polina, the 2 youngest members of the family. Her face would light up with a smile whenever they came, even in the last time they came. She wanted to give herself to the kids completely, and she did to us. She was selfless, like I said, and it showed every day. She knew she had a terminal diagnosis early on, and she took it stoically, and she still made sure, even when she was not able to say much or to get up, she would still make sure that if I came, she would ask if I ate. She would make a motion that she wanted to get up and go cook something for me. It was her, not even a second nature, it was hers, all the way. And I could talk about little things. I think the fact that she was stay home for the first 6 years of my life just made me the way I am, completely. And for that I'm immensely grateful, as well as for many other things that you might did for me. I think Rachel wanted to say something. Her one and only granddaughter. She'll speak for herself.
I have a bit of stage fright, so I'm sorry if I'm nervous. This is a letter I wrote to Babushka. To my dearest Babushka Lara, it's hard right now trying to find the words that can properly express how I feel right now. But I'm going to try my best because I want the world to know just how special you are. I don't think that I would be the person I am today without your warm presence in my life. If I could describe how you make me feel, I would say that you feel like springtime, like the sun that melts the snow away, like the rain that brings us flowers, like the birds that chirp beside your window in the quiet of the morning. You exhale life into everything you touch. Like spring, you remind us of the beauty that is sometimes forgotten in the misery of winter. I have never met someone as kind, selfless, beautiful, and loving as you. And your kind nature is not one to be mistaken as weakness, for you are one of the strongest people I have ever met. No matter how you were feeling, you always had a smile on your face. You always put us first before yourself, no matter what. I was so lucky, and I don't think I ever truly understood how lucky I was to have someone as beautiful as you in my life. On the day that you left us, a day where it felt like my world was flipped upside down, the sun still shined, and all I could think of was you. Today, I want to remember the time that we spent together. You and Dedushka gave Joey and I such a magical childhood. And I would do anything to get that time back, to be able to explore the park with you, to draw at the kitchen table with you, to be overfed the many blinchiki and kotletki that you would always make, to have sleepovers with Joey at yours, to flip through old photo albums with you. As a small child, you always made me feel grand, and I'm so incredibly honored to call myself your granddaughter. And I know Joey feels the same. Ты всегда называла меня твоей ласточкой, и ты моя. Я жду того дня, когда мы снова сможем летать вместе.
Lena?
I met with Larisa 50 years ago, and we were very good friends all time. Larisa helped with smart advice many times. She was very good friend. It's difficult for us when friends come out, but we understand that die only body, but soul not die. And right now I feel that soul of Larisa is here with us. And I want to read the prayer in sorrow. God of all consolation, in your unending love and mercy for us, you turned the darkness of death into the dawn of new life. Show compassion of your people in sorrow. Be our refuge and our strength to lift us from the darkness of his grief to peace and joy in your presence. Right now I speak in Russian language. Larisa помогала своему папе, своему мужу, своей маме. Она была душой всей семьи. Так как ее папа писал стихи до последней минуты жизни, а дожил он до 100 лет и 8 месяцев, Лариса помогала ему участвовать в поэтических встречах. А когда папа ушел, Лариса приезжала на эти встречи и читала его стихи. И я написала в память о ней тоже. «Сохраню в своем сердце образ светлой, красивой души. Путь ее в этой жизни нелегок, но теперь ее тело в тиши, а душа поднимается к Богу под мелодию ангельских лир. Прошу ангелов дать ей дорогу в светлый, чудный, божественный мир. Ведь любовь, что она нам дарила, в сердцах многих греет теплом, свою жизнь родным посвятила и работе, что был второй дом. Заслужила Лариса поддержку светлых сил и родных, и друзей, и пусть о ней светлая память сохранится в сердцах всех людей».
Thank you very much for your beautiful, heartfelt words. Please rise for the memorial prayer. Eile malei rachamim, shochayna b'ramim, hametzemeno chanechonam, tachat kanefei ashchina, b'mahalot kedoshim adharim, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת לריסה בת אהרון וליבה שהלכה לעולמה בגן עדן תהי מנוחתה. אנא בעל הרחמים אז תראה בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, ותצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה, אדוני ונחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen. O God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure, to the soul of Larisa Glukh, who has gone to her eternal home. Master of mercy, we ask you, remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that she performed in the land of the living. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. The Lord is her portion. May she rest in peace. And we all say, Amen. Please be seated. Please remain in your seats until the casket will be taken out of the chapel. Pallbearers, please come forward. Лехтамі муфайл церкви даве емет білбаво, лорагал лешана лаасал реєгура абе герфала насо, ал крово, нівзебе енабнім ас, веетурей адонай єхапет, ніжбале барового ямір, фасполо накар, венешеране венедла,
So,